Assalamualaikum, my name is Azima. I'm from batch 18A. My ID number is 041937. Today I want to present about introduction in prosecution technique and crime scheme investigation. Prosecution technique is many prosecutors working in the civil, criminal, federal, tribal and military justice system has changed how they respond to victims of crime in significant way. They have played an active role and have to implement victim rights and service nativity. Internet sensitivity to the net of crime victim by has helped in increased victim specification in the criminal justice process. Crime scene investigation, the use of physical evidence at the scene of the crime and the use of detective and inductive reasoning to gain knowledge of the events surrounding the crime. Crime scene investigation is multidisciplinary and involves a systematic search of the crime scene, medical observation and documentary of the scene, photography and scan of the scene, the identification, processing and collection of physical evidence such as fingerprint, photograph, impression, hair, fiber, biological and material for DNA analysis, and most important, the application of careful reason to the fact.
Hi Miss, I am Danishwaran son of Krishnan from batch 18A DEM 05-19-024. Okay, my topic is understanding the prosecution technique and crime scene investigation, and my part is function. The prosecution technique and the crime scene investigation of the function is to prevent and investigate crime, presents organized and economic crime, judicial police, communication, surveillance, work planning, execution, monitoring and evaluation. The crime case documentation, crime investigate gathering, processing, analysis and utilization and relevant operations, work planning, monitoring and evaluation. It is a technique research. And about the prosecutor has three main tasks to do: to investigate crimes, to decide whatever or to not investigate legal proceeding, and to approach in court. The prosecutor investigates crime together with the police. He or she shall have contact with the person suspected of the crime and the victim and the witness, and have to close contact with the police. Once the preliminary investigations have to complete, the prosecutor judges whether there is a sufficient evidence to bring the case to court. If it's a monitored crime, the suspect admits his or her guilt. And the task of prosecutor is to prove that the suspect has committed the crime. He or she questions to suspect, the witness and experts in order to establish that the suspect is guilty. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Arvinder, DDM, batch 18A. I'm from Newton College. I will explain about my point. That is application law of understanding into prosecution technique and application law of crime scene investigation. First is application law of understanding into prosecution technique. Laws and regulation, directive governing the conduct of prosecutor. Example, laws and regulation, the federal constitution of the Supreme Law Clause of 3, Article 145. The prosecutor may institute and conduct any prosecuting for a criminal offense, may amend a charge at point of the time dealing the conduct of a prosecution. If there is a proper basis, court cannot compel the Attorney General to institute prosecution which he does not intend to institute. He registered and on to prosecute with any criminal prosecuting which has to be discontinued court cannot compel the Attorney General to exchange a charge when he is content to proceeding on a baser charge. Second is application law of crime scene investigation. The purpose of crime scene investigation is to help establish and what happened to the crime scene reconstruction and to identify the responsible of a person. This is done by carefully documenting the condition at the crime scene and recognizing all relevant physical evidence. The crime scene investigation is to help establish what happened to the crime scene reconstruction and to identify the responsible person. That is done by carefully documenting the condition at the crime scene and recognizing all relevant physical evidence. The ability to recognize and properly label physical evidence is often critical to both solving and prosecuting violent crime. That's all. Thank you.
Good morning to my beloved lecturer. I'm Dashi Lechman from DMH 88. Today I would like to speak about the case of Mona Fande. This has happened in 1993. The victim Datu Maslan, who was member of the Legislative Assembly of the state of Pahang, mysteriously disappeared for 1 week after he withdrawn Rm 300,000 from bank. The police made diligent inquiries. After that, the body of the Datu Maslan was recovered, but it was in 18 separate pieces. It was found buried in premise at Uludong, occupied by the appellants. The appellant of this case, Juraimi Hussein, was the first accused, while the other two appellants, Muhammad Afandi and Nur Mazna Ismail, better known as Mona Fande, was a Malaysian pop singer, were the second and third accused. The appellant did witchcraft towards the victim Datu Maslan. The victim, who met the Bomo couple, was wishing for wealth. Therefore, during the process, he was being asked to lie down and wait for the money fall from the sky. There was no money rain, but an axe chop of his head and caused death. The appellant were arrested and appeared. The court dismissed the appeal and sentenced in three accused to death. Evidence that used to kill Dato Maslan, watch and shoes belongings of Dato Maslan, dismember body parts in 18 pieces buried in a hole of storeroom, the withdrawal of Haram 300,000 from the victim's bank account. The case lasted 65 days and heard evidence from 76 witnesses. The prosecution told the court that money was the motive for the killing and pointed to the shopping spree, the facelift, and the Mercedes. Jurami testifies against Mona and Effendi and revealed the gruesome details of the murder. On August 3 the same year, Mona Effendi and Juraimi were charged in the Raw Magistrate Court with the murder of Maslan. They pleaded not guilty. They were tried at the Temerloh High Court by a 7-person jury. A total of 76 witnesses were called and 295 exhibits tendered. The court found them guilty and sentenced to death by hanging. The trio filed appeals to the federal court, but in 1999, the court dismissed them and upheld the death sentence. Thank you.
Good morning, Miss. My name is Prakash Raja from 18A. My matric number is TEM03190441. So today I'm going to talk about a case. The case name is Murder Case of Siti Nur Suraya Ismail. So the victim name is Siti Nur Suraya Ismail and the suspect name is Nur Atira. This case held on 1st November 2020 at Terengganu. They are thick friends Form 1 until Form 5, but don't know what happened. So the aim of the case is, the reason, they both are involved in misunderstanding between them. So unexpectedly they both start fighting, and the suspect killed the victim. Police officer found a few evidence like CCTV footage, DNA, and the suspect also admire he is the killed. So finally, police department decide, based on the evidence and the confession of the suspect, he is the killer, and the suspect charged at court under section 302 penal code. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Shahidatul Adila. I'm from batch 18A. My ID card number is DM051942. Today I want to present about elements of crime scene investigation. Crime scene investigation is the method of protecting, processing and reconstruction of a crime. It doesn't matter where the crime took place or if there are more than one crime scene involved. A crime scene can envelop more than one location, as in the case where a victim has been killed in one location and found in another location. A crime scene can be on land or in water, in a tree or buried 6 feet under. The first element is the scene. The scene of every death content fact of the story. Regardless of the amount of actually physical evidence, the scene doesn't tell a portion of the story. Every scene must be worked slowly and methodically. The scene may be one location or many locations. Evidence can be overwhelming in scope or minimal. Cooperation between police investigation and the coroner office is very important. Each agency has a major and important function in the overall investigation of any death scene. Agencies should have an attitude of cooperation and communicate between others. The second element is the body. The body is the most important piece of evidence of any death scene. Without a body, investigators do not have a death scene to investigate. Information from the body is what directs the investigation. Then, a determinant of cost and manner will direct further investigation. Evidence such as recovered bullet, one pattern DNA, one type trajectory are just basic information located in the body. In the most state, the coroner investigator have completely control of the body and everything associated with it. Here again is where prior communication and complete communication is must between agencies. Questions such as collecting evidence, initial photograph movement of the body, and assess for the time of death determine needs to have an attitude of cooperating. The third element is the history. Decent history is an equally important aspect of every death investigation. Antemortem activity should be known of every decent to establish the activity immediately prior to death, although that the time frame can be minute or hour. An effort must be made to obtain medical history, physical history, as well as social history, and this can be information necessary to establish cause and manner as well as establish a suspect. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nomala Puteri binti Omar. Student ID DM1519139 from batch 18A. Element Prosecution Technique. 1. Value copyright. The government must demonstrate the existence of a valid copyright. Over copyright protection is technically in a right where a work is created. The copyright of the work must be registered before the work can be support prosecution. As a result, this factor will be relevant in the case of trader. 2. Infringement is a copyright work can be infringed among other works through unauthorized reproduction or distribution, upload a website or anywhere. Also, can be download show consistent both reproduction and distribution educative. The file on a local computer show is consistent reproduction of the file. 3. Willfulness is the government have the burden to prove that the defendant conduct was willful. Willfulness is a work of many means where construct is often dependent on the context in which it plays. In the criminal copyright infringement context, the words means remain unresolved. Thank you.
In crime scene investigation, it will be the loss of evidence. The biggest impediment to an investigation is the removal or loss of a piece of the evidence from the scene of a crime. Due to high movement of human traffic in a crime scene, is likely to cause items to be misplaced, stolen, or moved. Instances like this occur when technicians fail to arrive at the crime scene within the shortcut time possible to avoid ensure the scene is kept securely from law enforcement departments. Okay, fifth, ease of access. Adverse weather condition, proximity to the crime scene and other environmental factors can affect your ability to gain access to the crime scene, and this can adversely affect the quality of evidence and result from testing. While these are outside your control, adaptively as a technician and keen eye will enable you to conduct your work even under the circumstances. That's all. Hello, my name is Ms.Nanthny. I am batch from batch 18A. Today I want to talk about understanding to the prosecution technique and crimes in investigation. Some of the most pressing challenges that prosecutors face are related to difficulties recruiting, training, managing, and retaining staff. Okay, prosecutors struggle with the demanding and time-consuming task for identifying, tracking, storing, and disclosing officer, misconduct discipline issues, as well as collecting and reporting disclosure obligation related to the grading and legal standards. Okay, thirdly, prosecutors are challenged by the inaccurate or inconsistent collection of data or others information shared among agency, their partners, and community, as well as by emerging digital and forensic technologies.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Maisara binti Mat Daud. I'm from DEM batch 18A. My ID card is 0519171. Today, I want to present about understanding her to prosecution technique and crime scene investigation. My part is conclusion. During the past 2 decades, many prosecutors working in the juvenile, criminal, federal, tribal, and military justice system have changed how they respond to victims of crime in significant ways. Number 2 is they have played an active role in helping to implement victim rights and service nationwide. Lastly is heightened sensitivity to the need of crime victim by prosecutor has helped to increase victim participation in the criminal justice process. That's all. Thank you.